Hey guys, what's going on? We got the first video of The War Within. This is early access, obviously. The dungeon we are doing is Cinderbrew Meadery. It was actually pretty fun, but rather than talk about the dungeon, because most of it is pretty hard to tell what the heck's going on because it's a normal, and I really don't know what the mechanics are just yet. Once heroic or maybe mythic hits, we might talk about the mechanics more. But I just wanted to talk about Enhance in general and how Shaman feels and what it might come to in the future. But anyways, currently, in my opinion, and I think a lot of other people, Enhancement is very strong right now in myth or in a dungeon concept and possibly just in PvE in general. It's been a lot of fun. Although we can't quite get the haste rating we want right now, that's kind of okay, but at the same time, it will come to it'll come later on once we get our proper gear. But in terms of play style and the feel of everything, um, currently Stormbringer is feeling the best. And the reason why is we don't have an extra action button, and it just flows very nicely. Where I have tried Totemic, and it doesn't quite feel that great. Totemic is very clunky and really weird. On top of that, we have to keep moving the totem and manage it. Now, it does do good damage. It does great damage, but it just doesn't flow as nicely. It clutters up the rotation and stuff like that, kind of like the way old Elementalist did. And now, with the new Elementalist, it's actually become a lot easier. I believe they nerfed Elemental Blast, or mainly because we want to be spamming Lightning Bolt as much as possible. Um, the Totemic hasn't quite got the edge yet. Tempest Strikes has become more of a popularity, and if you want to play Elementalist, you can play without Elemental Blast, getting the rotation a bit easier. Although it doesn't quite fix everything, but yeah. So the reason why Totemic isn't that great is mainly because you have that extra button, you have to constantly move it, and you have to watch for it. Now you can have 100% uptime, which is great. But overall, moving it around, and even if they're like the units are just slightly out of range, you have to move it again, and it's just like very confused. It's very annoying, essentially. So if they bring Totemic back to the old iteration of you place it down, and units within 30 yards will get a pulse of damage and will damage anything within X amount of range of them, I think Totemic would come back and be fairly strong. But for right now, where it's like, oh, you have to place the totem and units have to be around it, it kind of sucks. But you can get it to hit quite hard. And when I've been using Totemic, it has been my top damage. The Surging Totem has been top damage by far. And that's because you run the Ascendance buff, increasing the damage while you're in Ascendance by 150%, and getting like the Sunder buff, where when you Sunder, it deals a big explosion. So if you line those two up, it actually does a massive burst of damage, which can be quite crazy, and it does give out a lot of burst. But I mean, when you're comparing it to Stormbringer, it Stormbringer just flows a lot nicer. It's a lot easier to use. There's not much to it, and Lightning Conduit is just kind of insane right now. You can do so much funneling and so much AoE, especially with mixing it with Primordial Wave. Whenever you use Primordial Wave, it marks all targets that are hit by the Lightning Bolt. So it just does a lot of damage, which is great. And everything flows nice. But coming further along, tomorrow is going to be the actual release day of The War Within. But I don't see anything quite changing just yet. Once this next week, possibly 2 weeks from now, we might actually see a balance patch, and we could see an enhancement nerf, but I really don't think it will. It's very possible it won't get nerfed, because I don't feel like we're significantly overpowered like the S tier classes, like I believe Unholy DK, or I think Fury Warrior might be up there too, or Arcane Mage. I think Enhancement is in a perfect spot. Yes, its AoE is strong, but I don't think we're so overpowered that we're being looked at by Blizzard at the moment. I think we are in a pretty fair position, and I really don't see us getting nerfed. Now, in a PvP situation, we could definitely use some buffs there, but specifically PvE, I think we're in a great spot. I don't see us getting nerfed, and honestly, I don't see us getting buffed either. I see Totemic possibly getting modified because I don't think anybody really wants to play Totemic. Like, I don't even know if Resto Shamans are really playing it. I played it a little bit just because it does give a little bit of extra damage and stuff like that, but overall, I don't see Totemic being played by Enhancement all that much. It's not very fun, to be honest. Now, when we're talking about fun, I mean, like, it is pretty cool to see that big explosion of damage and stuff like that. It does have some unique powers to it, but overall, I think it's kind of fighting itself. For one, having both Lava Lash and Storm Strike, I know I've brought this up multiple times, having both of those in one set of hero talents and having to use both of them is kind of weird. I mean, you can see I'm using both of them here, and I'm playing a pure Storm build as well, so my main focus is going to be Storm Striking, which is a single target effect for Totemic. It blasts the target with nature damage. But if you were to play Elementalist, where you're more focused on Lava Lash and then only use Storm Strike while you're in Ascendance, because you use on-use Ascendance now, it's gonna be a bit better, but I don't see it being super, like, really, really good. Like, you can just see by my damage of Stormbringer here, like, Tempest just flows a lot better. It just feels nice. You don't have to change anything, you just do damage. Whereas Totemic, you have to keep an eye on it, make sure it's in position and stuff like that. So I could definitely see Totemic being modified in some way, because I really think it's got like a very, very low play rate. I haven't seen any shamans play it yet. Anytime I've grouped up with other shamans, honestly, it's very rare, but anytime I have seen them, they're always Tempest or Stormbringer, sorry. So it would be nice to see Totemic get modified so that way it's actually playable, but this early on into the expansion, I'm not too certain it'll happen. But then again, now is the time to probably fix things that aren't quite working, but maybe they're lining something up for patch 0.1 or something like that. So I don't know. But yeah, it's honestly been fun. Although there hasn't been too much to do since it has been early access. Doing the delves and stuff is pretty fun too, if you've been watching the streams. They are kind of difficult to an extent. You do get hit pretty hard, but as long as you're paying attention and healing yourself, it'll be just fine. But yeah, so all of that. Leveling, on the other hand, leveling is kind of insane right now. If you are going to be playing for the first time Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it is for release for you, the fastest way to level is going to be dungeons, but you want to make sure one character has gotten the campaign done, so that way it's all finished. Make sure that's done right away, and then just move on to dungeons, because you can just super speed them. And then for each level 80 you have, you get 5% experience gain towards your entire account. I believe up to 25%, my friend said, so keep that in mind. So if you level, it gets faster and faster and faster. And on top of that, the dungeons are very short, the ones that you can do at low level, as well as scaling is kind of broken, so you do like a significant amount of damage. Like, you're doing anywhere from 800 to 1,000,000 damage per second, and it's crazy. 800k to 1,000,000 damage, sorry. especially if you had previous season gears. It's really really fast. Like I did my mage, and until about level 75, I was one-shotting bosses. It was insane, insanely fast. Like it's kind of crazy. And now that I'm leveling my warrior, you just run it down to the boss and then you quickly kill everything, and it's actually crazy how fast it is, and it feels really good. And I genuinely don't see them changing it. I know a recent post happened where they removed locking your experience at level 70, and I think it's specifically for speed running, like speed leveling, right? Boosting. I think they removed it specifically for that, which is kind of a weird thing. But they made it at level 69, so you can't specifically queue. As soon as you go past that, you have to level up. But yeah, it's quite the interesting thing that they did. But yeah, overall, everything is awesome. I honestly just want to keep playing and playing and playing. I did some battlegrounds, did some delves, do all that. The only thing I won't do is questing because I hate questing. But yeah, like I'm not sure what's dropping tomorrow. I know everybody else is going to join us in the game, but I do believe heroics might be dropping, so we'll be doing some of that tomorrow. But yeah, hopefully everything stays the same for enhancement because it is feeling really good. The only thing I'd like to see changed is Totemic getting buffed. But other than that, enhancement is absolutely blasting right now, and it is fun. Not worried about any like form of damage output or anything like that. We have great defensive now and stuff like that, so I am not worried about our Mythic Plus spot or even Raid spot anymore. It was a bit nerve-wracking seeing some of the stuff early on, but now that getting to play it with the gear I am sort of put together, even though it's just a mix mash, you can see by my stats I have very little haste, which sucks. But even with that small amount of haste, it still feels really good to play. Like, honestly, if you're thinking about playing Enhancement Shaman, or you were nerve-wracked about playing it because it's been your main forever and you weren't really sure if it was going to be good, it's going to be great. Just keep that in mind. It's going to be great. My game froze here, so I don't know what the heck happened there. Nothing crashed or anything like that. It's just the game just decided I'm going to freeze here, and that's what happened. But yeah, so keep an open mind that things are going to change. Things will change. Do I see enhancement changing? No. No, the only thing I could see changing about enhancement is Totemic. That's about it. So don't worry about that. But yeah, so everything is good. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I can't wait until heroics come out and then mythics come out and stuff like that to really get a feel for how the dungeons are and how the spec plays into longer combat phases, because that is the important thing. How long of a drawn out fight can you last, right? And that's the goal to see. So far I've just been crushing everything and it's been fun. But maybe later on, as the fights get longer, usually that's when enhancement excels, is when the fights get a bit longer and it gets better. So, but the only weird thing I have to say about enhancement right now is trying to fit in Doomwinds. Doomwind windows are very awkward because you want to be smashing lightning bolt or chain lightning or whatever rather than crash lightning and stuff like that. Like you can just see, like, it feels really weird. The only time I really ever Doomwinds is single target because I have enough generation and stuff like that to deal with it. But Doomwinds doesn't quite fit, which really sucks, but it does fit in single target, which is nice. But yeah, it's really awkward to fit Doomwinds. That's the only downfall I've found. But I assume in the later fights it might get better. I don't know. We will have to see. But yeah, that's the only downfall. And Fire Nova is back, or Fire Nova. Yeah, Fire Nova is back. It's better than Hailstorm in AoE situations, which is amazing to see. absolutely amazing because I know a lot of people hate Hailstorm and they would rather play Fire Nova. So yeah, that's come back. But anyways, guys, that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you are ready for the War Within release. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Laters!